In today's video, we are going to be attempting to survive 100 days on Minecraft Pixelmon. Today's video is sponsored by the Happy Cloud MC server, so thank you guys so much for sponsoring the video. And just quickly, if you guys want to join me on the Happy Cloud server, all you have to do is load up the Technic Launcher. After doing that, click on Mod Packs. Then search up the Apex Pixelmon. After finding it, it's just the one that says Apex Pixelmon 1.16.5. And after clicking install mod pack, when it finally loads up, you can click on multiplayer and the server should already be there. Now without further ado, let's jump right into 100 days on Minecraft Pixelmon. One more thing that I forgot to mention before, if you do stick around to the end of the video, there is a little hint at the very end of the video to my next 100 days, so stay tuned for that one. So after joining into the server, we then had a choice of loads of different starters. Luckily though, there weren't just the normal starters, there was a bunch of custom starters too. So after looking through them, I decided that I wanted to pick Shinx. After picking out my Shinx, my rival then also picked out a Routes. We then had a little rival battle in which my Shinx managed to beat the Routes, winning my first rival battle of this 100 days. We then went ahead and looked at all the different quests. So on the server you've got a bunch of uncommon and common quests, which you can complete throughout your time on the server. There's then also a bunch of daily quests as well, which will update every single day, getting you a bunch of small little rewards as you go on. We then went and checked out all the different warp areas. First we headed over to the Pokemon Center, which looked so cool with all the design. We then headed into a really cool looking fossil area, which had a super cool design, with loads of different floating fossil type Pokemon. It was awesome. We then headed through to the shop and checked out all the different things that you can buy on the server when it comes to all the different blocks, all the different Pokeballs, all that sort of stuff that you might need during your time on the server. Then we headed over to the dailies area, and with this, every time you log onto the server you get a new different reward. The longer you play the server, the better the reward will be. After that, we headed over to the Move Relearner and checked out all the different areas in there too. Basically, the move relearner is super helpful because when you get higher level Pokemon, if you forgot to learn them a good move, you can go back and relearn that one. With all the different types of move tutors as well, this was going to be super helpful throughout this 100 days. We then headed over to the EV area. In this area, there's all the different trainers that you'll need to get all your Pokemon EVs exactly how you want them, with loads of different trainers in all the speed areas, the defense areas, the attack areas, all the different ones that you might need. We then also checked out the leveling area, where there's a higher level area with a high level trainer and a semi-high level trainer, and then you've also got the lower end trainers, which are a little bit lower level for you to start off training your Pokemon with. After checking out all the different areas, we then headed into the crate area, and this was going to be one of my favourite places to visit throughout this 100 days, as there's so many different crates to open with loads of opportunities to get loads of really good Pokemon, including shiny legendaries. After that, we then knew that there was one crate we could do straight away, which you guys can also do too. It's the /vote crate. After typing /vote in, you open up all of the links that the server provides, and then once you get onto it, it's super simple to do. All you've got to do is just enter your Minecraft player name, which for me is going to be Wilson. After doing that, all you've got to do is click to vote, and boom, you've registered your vote, and now when you jump back into game, you'll have your vote keys, and you'll be able to start opening up the vote crate. After opening it up, we knew that there was so many different opportunities and different types of things that you can get from the vote crate, which is super awesome to see. After opening up all of my crates, I then also got all of my rewards. With this, I got a random Pokemon, which was a Basculegion, which is a super cool Pokemon to have at the start of the game. I love this Pokemon. And my mate also got an Omastar. Then I looked in my ender chest and saw I had a shulker box full of loads of different crate keys, which I'd be using throughout this 100 days, so stay tuned to see what I got. We then looked at the /kits, and luckily on this server I've been given access to all the different kits for all of the different donator ranks, so I had a load of different opportunities to claim all of the kits, and all of these different kits have loads of different perks which I'll be able to show you throughout the video. And just quickly, I'll show you guys exactly how you can get these rank kits. So just like before, how you get onto the crates page, there's a bunch more commands that you can use to get the ranks. First of all, you want to click on the ranks page and you've got all the different ranks that you can purchase on the server right here. There's loads more options too, for example the rank upgrades. If you've already got a rank, you can pay a cheaper price to upgrade to a bigger rank. There's also a Pokemon tab where you can buy yourself random shinies, random legendary shiny converts, all the different things that you might need on your journey. So if you do want to buy yourself a rank, make sure to click on the description down below. So after claiming all my kits, I used some of the rare candies to evolve my Shinx into a Luxio. Then I went through and opened up my rare crate where I got a random Pokemon. Then I opened up my epic crate, which got me a specific shiny Pokemon. I then opened an aura crate, which got me a non-legendary aura. I then claimed my specific shiny and got myself a Volcarona, which was going to be crucial for the start of this 100 days. We then headed back to spawn and we spoke to a turtle. Basically, around the spawn there is a bunch of different little eggs that you can find, and each time you find an egg, you then get a certain reward. But you have to find all 20. Unfortunately this time we only managed to find 18 of them, so we didn't get the big prize at the end. I then went back to spawn and then used the RTP command to teleport me somewhere random in the world. I ended up finding a Charmander with that, which I evolved into a Charmeleon. I kept exploring and ended up finding myself a Toxel, which I also decided I wanted to catch. I then checked out the command vote shop. Essentially, every time you vote you get a 1 vote coin, and for all of the vote coins you can gather up, you can also buy loads of really cool items. Then we checked out the /shard shop, and on here all you've got to do is every time you defeat a certain type of Pokemon, you get a shard for that typing. And on this shop, if you get enough shards for certain Pokemon, you can actually buy that type of Pokemon, which is a really cool feature which I've never seen before. So if you do join the server, make sure to check this out because there's a lot of good opportunities here. With this, there's also a /HUD command, which is pretty cool because all you have to do is just add or remove certain things from your HUD, which will sometimes be important to you. For example, when the last legendary spawned, or what blocks you're looking at, or what Pokemon you're looking at, and all of their stats. It's a really cool little feature. I then went ahead and evolved my Luxio into a Luxray. After that, I defeated a Cryogonal raid den, and then evolved my Charmeleon up into a Charizard. After that, we then headed on to the /route. On here, the server have made up their own custom route, which is a super cool idea, which goes from Gym 1 all the way through to Gym 8, with so many different trainers that are involved. So after making it to the first gym, we headed in and managed to beat the bug gym pretty quickly and pretty easily. I then continued through the route in this really cool looking ice cave, which is full of trainers. So if you guys do join the server, make sure to check out the route because it's a really great way to level up all of your Pokemon pretty easily. And the routes are also really well built. So if you do check them out, it's definitely worth it. After traveling through the route a little bit, I then grabbed out some of my crate keys that I'd been given by the server. I then headed to Warp Crates and opened up my first crate. And while we're waiting for it to open, I'll show you guys how you can get your own crate keys. What you want to do is hit the link in the description. After you get onto the website, you then want to go onto the store tab. After opening up the store tab, there's all the different things that you can buy on the server for crates, ranks, rank upgrades, Pokemon, commands, and even Pokebuilder tokens. For this instance, we're opening crates. And after clicking on the crates tab, you then get prompted to add your in-game username. So after putting in your name, you'll then end up on the keys page, where you can buy all the different keys for all the different crates that the server has to offer. Personally though, my favourite has to be the All or Nothing crate, because I love just getting legendaries from that one. Anyway, enough said here, let's check what I got from the crates. So from the 50/50 crate I got a Krokorok, I then opened an All or Nothing, where I got a shiny Tapu Koko. Then I opened the Legend crate and got myself a legendary of choice. After that, I opened a Mythic crate, where I got a gender change and a nature change. I then continued exploring until I ended up finding a really cool island in the middle of an ocean, and I decided that I wanted to make a base here. Then me and Hawk were about to have a battle where we found a shiny Delmise, which my rival ended up catching. Then we headed into a battle. Unfortunately though, for this rival battle I ended up losing because my rival had a really high level Dragonite which I was unable to defeat. After the rival battle, we then decided that we wanted to make an entirely new team, and this is what I came up with. After that, I headed straight over to the level grinder and started leveling up my entire team, where I then had my Rowlet evolve into a Dartrix. I then headed over to the normal gym on the /route. After heading into the battle, I was pretty confident that I'd be able to defeat this gym, but unfortunately to my surprise I actually ended up losing. And when you lose the gym, you have to wait an entire day before you can go back and re-challenge it. So I continued on the route, defeating as many trainers as I possibly could to get loads of levels until eventually my Herdia evolved into a Stoutland. By this time it was a new day and I was now able to challenge the normal gym again. which with my new leveled up team, I actually managed to defeat, getting me my second gym badge of this 100 days. I then headed home where I was about to start building my base when a Lapras spawned, and I decided that the Lapras was going to be the 6th member of my team. I then encountered a wild Dratini, which I ended up catching too. I then helped my rival Hawk evolve his Machoke into a Machamp. I then made my way back to the level grinder and ended up evolving my Krokorok into a Crocodile. I then ended up finding and catching a wild Trico, then a wild Axew, and then a wild Bulbasaur. I then continued travelling on the route where I ended up finding a new ice area. After travelling through the ice, I then made it to the ice type gym leader, but unfortunately I was defeated. I then evolved my Dartrix up into a Decidueye. I then came back to Dratini and Slowbro just having a rave by my house. I then defeated a Brion raid den, and then we headed back to the ice gym, which eventually, after leveling up all my Pokemon to the same level as the gym leader, I managed to defeat it, getting me a Glacier badge. I then continued on the route, defeating all of the trainers, while I headed over to the next gym. After making it there, I caught myself a Durant, and then headed into the fighting dojo. After fighting the gym leader, I managed to defeat him, getting me the Storm badge. I then headed back to the end as I had an epic hunt, which was for a Drampa with all of these different stats that I needed to find. I then went around just catching as many Drampas as I possibly could, but unfortunately none of the ones were the ones I was looking for. I then teleported to my rival Hawk, when all of a sudden, a Landorus spawned. So we headed out and looked for it, but my rival managed to get it first and he caught it. I then completed another raid den and then got back to defeating and catching as many Drampas as I possibly could, until eventually me and my rival had a rival battle. Unfortunately though, it came down to Mamoswine and Tapu Koko, and he managed to defeat me again. I then went back to the end and found a really cool looking custom Porygon, which I decided to catch. Then I checked out a new command called /backpack, where I can just chuck all of my stuff in it. There's 10 different inventory spots, which is pretty insane. That's a lot of inventory space, so I can just carry all my items with me the whole time. We then headed back to the warp crates to start building our new team with all of my crate keys. First I opened a rare crate and got a Master Ball, then an epic crate and got a fixed IV boost and random shiny, then the aura crate where I got a legendary aura. Next there was a texture crate where I got a custom textured Mawile, which looks super cool. We then continued opening a 50-50 crate which got a shiny Murkrow, which I didn't end up using. Then I opened up an all or nothing crate where I got a shiny Mew, which was absolutely insane and definitely my best pull so far. Then I opened a mythic crate and got 4 random shinies, which is pretty good. Then I opened the legend crate where I got a random legendary and a legendary nature change. I then went home and opened up my random shinies, where first I managed to get myself a shiny Skarmory. Then I opened up my next one where I got a shiny Seviper. Then I got a shiny Tepig. Next I got myself a shiny Solrock. And finally I got myself a shiny Minccino. Then I opened up my legendary and got myself a Uxie, which isn't the best. After that I then decided to claim my specific legendary, as I figured I might go for like Necrozma and see if I can get myself the Necrozma that's fused with either Solgaleo or Lunala. But then I saw that I could have Ultra Necrozma, which was crazy. I then finished drafting up my next team, where I ended up with firstly Dratini, then my custom textured Umbreon, then I picked out my custom textured Mawile, and my custom textured Porygon. Next I picked up Skarmory, and then also my shiny Mew from before. My rival then wanted to show me his team as well, so I headed over and he had a Metagross, a Blissey, a Swampert, the Landorus that he'd caught before, a Tynamo, and a shiny Shuppet, so I knew this was going to be a difficult challenge if I wanted to beat him on the next rival battle. So I started by heading to the EV training area to EV train my Mew. Then I headed to the level grinder to level up my team as much as I possibly could. Until then I went to the move relearner to give all of my Pokemon new and improved moves. Then I went onto the /shop to buy them custom TMs to add all of their moves to make them perfect. I then headed back onto the route where I could continue leveling my Pokemon a lot more efficiently, as the route is a perfect place to level as there's so many different level trainers with loads of Pokemon that have high XP values. And whilst leveling on the route, I then had my Dratini evolve into a Dragonair. I then bought an upgrade off the shop, which I gave to my Porygon, as I wanted to evolve it into a Porygon 2. After evolving it up into Porygon 2, I then continued on the route as much as I possibly could to get loads of levels for my team. After that, I then entered a new area on the route, which is a sandy area, which is home to the ground gym. After continuing on the route for a little bit longer, my Dragonair then evolved into a Dragonite. I then defeated a superior raid den, and then entered the ground gym. After entering the battle, it was pretty easy for me and I managed to win, getting me my next gym badge, which was the Quake badge. I then purchased another hunt. This time I was doing a hard hunt, which was for a Mudbray. After searching for a couple Mudbray, they're pretty common, so I managed to complete it, getting a non-legendary resize and 50,000 coins. I then headed down into the mines and just mined up as many ores as I possibly could, as I had something in mind that I wanted to do with my Mew that I'd recently gotten. So after mining for quite a few days, this is what I came out with. I then started building all the components I'd need for what I wanted to do next with Mew, and that was a cloning machine. After placing down the cloning machine, I then had my diamond and gold blocks that I'd need for the cloning process. Luckily though, to my surprise, my first cloning was a success, and I actually managed to get Mewtwo first try, which was pretty good. Although I forgot to trap it, and after it broke out of the cloning machine, it just started flying off. So eventually, after chasing it down, I finally managed to get into a battle with it, and ended up catching the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. I then spent the next few days making another cloning chamber, entering in 3 iron blocks as I wanted to get myself a Ditto. But after it was finished cloning, my rival Hawk then stole the Ditto from me, and after attempting to catch it and failed, he ran away, which then meant the Ditto was disappeared and it was gone forever, which was really unfortunate, but luckily I had enough minerals to then make another Ditto clone, which I eventually ended up catching. I then headed over to the level grinder to get all of my team up to the correct level for the battle that was coming up soon. I finally managed to get all my team up to level 70. After that, I headed home and my rival was ready for a rival battle. Luckily though, Porygon 2 carried me through the last couple Pokemon in the fight and I ended up winning that rival battle. I then entered the PC and put away all of my team and was ready to create my new team. So I grabbed out all the keys from my shulker chest and started opening crates. First I opened a mythic crate and got 2 fixed IV boosts and a nature change. I then headed over to the texture crate where unfortunately I got a Morwile, and since I already had one I opened another one and got a Sylveon. And I was pretty happy with how it looked. It was pretty cool but also looked very similar to the Umbreon that I got before. I then opened a legend crate and got a legendary shiny convert and a legendary fixed IV boost. Then I went to the 50-50 crate and got a Houndour. Then finally I went to the all or nothing but unfortunately only got a Gothitelle. After that, I then remembered that I had a specific Pokemon token, so I decided that I'd reward claim a Greninja. And to my surprise, I was actually able to claim it in the Ash Greninja form, so you already know I had to do that. I then had an Ash Greninja, which is pretty insane because I didn't think it would actually work, but I was pretty happy with my Ash Greninja. I then ended up defeating a couple raid dens with a Wishiwashi, a Leafeon, a Fletchinder, a Burmy, a Pichu, a Fletchinder again, a Ghastly, and an Execute. I then headed to the EV training area as I wanted to train up my Greninja to have perfect EVs. After that, I then picked out the last 2 members of my team, which was a Trico and a Durant. I then headed to the level area where I ended up evolving my Trico into a Grovyle. And then one of the players on the server showed me a really cool feature where you can take photos of your Pokemon and wear them as a hat, which was absolutely insane. And as you can see with this Ultra Necrozma, he was absolutely huge. I then activated a bunch of spawn boosters to hopefully get some rare spawns on the giant platform I was staying on. I then evolved my Grovyle up into a Sceptile. Then I defeated a couple raid dens, and then continued evolving my Pokemon by evolving my Dino into a Xylos. After that I defeated a couple more raid dens, with a Milotic, a Quagsire, a Marwile, and a Mudspray. I then evolved my Xylos into a Hydreigon. After that I defeated a load more raid dens to try and get as many good drops as I possibly could, until eventually I headed back to the level grinder to continue leveling up my team. And this was a team that I ended up using from the level grinder. After that I headed into the next route area, which seemed to be this overgrown tropical area. It was super cool, and after I'd finished exploring it, I then headed back to the level grinder to get my entire team up to level 80, as that would match the trainers in that route area. After that, I headed into the gym battle with the gym leader. After getting into the fight, It was a pretty difficult one for me, but luckily my Durant managed to pull through and I ended up defeating the next gym, getting me my next gym badge of this 100 days, the plant badge. I then headed home and my rival was waiting for me. He wanted to have our next rival battle. Luckily though, my Greninja managed to pull through and I ended up defeating my rival in this rival battle. After that, we then headed back to the warp crates as I needed to make my last team of this 100 days. I first got a Rapidash from a texture crate, and after throwing it out, it was this really cool galaxy texture. I really advise that you guys go check out these custom textures if you play on the server. I then opened up a legend crate where I got a random legendary and a legendary IV boost. Then I opened a mythic crate and got a triple legend of choice. Then went to the 50-50 crate and got a Volcarona. Then to the all or nothing crate where I got a shiny Cobalion. Back to the mythic to get myself a triple choice of legend. Then I went back to the legend crate and got a legendary shiny convert and a legendary fixed IV boost. After claiming my random legendary, I managed to get Lugia, which was awesome. And then I claimed my triple legend of choice, where I had Rayquaza, Calyrex or Zygarde, and you guys already know I had to pick Rayquaza for this one. I then opened up my second triple legend of choice, where I got a Tapu Lele, a Celebi, and a Mew. For this one, I ended up taking Mew. After that, I then flexed my legend team on my rival Hawk, showing him all of the legends that I'd managed to get over this 100 days, which were some insane legendaries. None of these are really bad. After that, I then used a shiny convert on my legendary Rayquaza, and he looked awesome. I had a spare one though, so I decided I also wanted to make my Ultra Necrozma a shiny too. And after showing them both off, they were so cool. I then picked out my final team for this 100 days where I had to pick one Pokemon from each of my different teams. After that, I headed to the next route area, which was like a pirate tropical area. It was a really cool looking area, and I decided that I'd use all these trainers on the first bit to farm up and get loads of levels for all of my team. And after leveling up my entire team to the correct level, I then headed into the gym battle. Eventually though, I managed to finally defeat the gym leader, getting me the Volcano badge. Me and my rival then headed to the last city on the route. In this city, we found the gym leader pretty quickly, but we decided instead of challenging him straight away, we wanted to go and explore the area a little bit more. So we flew around and explored the giant city until we found a giant museum that had a bunch of trainers in. So we decided to use these trainers to get all of our Pokemon up to level 100 so that we could finally face the gym leader. Eventually, when most of our Pokemon were leveled up to the correct level, we headed into the gym fight, which I ended up beating, getting me my last gym badge of this 100 days, the Mineral badge. I then headed back over to the move relearner as I wanted to give all of my Pokemon the appropriate moves ready for our rival battle that would be coming up on day 95. After finally giving all of my Pokemon the correct TMs and movesets, I was ready for our rival battle. When I headed home, Hawk was already ready for the rival battle. After heading into the fight, I managed to pull through with my Ash Greninja, who clutched up for me, winning me my final rival battle of this 100 days. We then decided that we didn't want to stop there, so I asked the owner if we could have a couple crate keys. So he gave us 12 all or nothing crate keys that we could open, and after we got 6 Pokemon each, we'd use those Pokemon, level them up, give them the correct movesets, and then have a battle. With Hawk's first one, he ended up getting a Diancie. I managed to get a Blossom. Then my rival got a Uxie, and I got a shiny Reshiram. After that, my rival got a shiny Mewtwo, which was insane. I got a Misdrevious, unfortunately. And then my rival did the unthinkable and got another shiny Mewtwo. So now he had 2 on his team. I then got a shiny Magearna. Then my rival managed to get a Staravia. After that, I got a Poliwag. And then my rival got a shiny Rayquaza. And finally, I got a Lickitung. After that, my rival then decided to flex his entire team on me, which I was so jealous of, because the majority of his team was just full of legendary Pokemon. He only managed to get 1 normal Pokemon. The rest of them were legendaries, which was absolutely insane. And with my team, I only got 2 legendaries, and the rest of my team was just normal Pokemon. We then headed over to the level grinder and leveled all of our Pokemon up, where my Lickitung evolved into a Licky. After that, I then finally got all my Pokemon up to level 70. I then headed back to the move relearner, where I used my time to get all of the correct TMs and moves on all of my Pokemon. I then used a non-legendary egg move claim on my Blossom. With this is a really cool server feature where you can give your Pokemon egg moves that normally would be quite difficult to get. With this, I gave my Blossom Strength Sap. After completing all of my movesets, I headed into the rival battle. First, my Mischievous was taken out by GlitchxCity, then my Polito took out Mewtwo. After that, my Polito was taken out by Staraptor, then the GlitchxCity was taken out by Lickitung. My Magearna then got taken out by Mewtwo. Reshiram and Mewtwo then took each other out. Unfortunately though, Rayquaza ended up defeating my Lickitung and my Blossom, meaning that unfortunately I ended up losing our little battle at the end of this 100 days. And that is it, guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this 100 days on Minecraft Pixelmon. Once again, shout out to the Happy Card MC server for sponsoring this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Oh no, what have I done? I can't stop it. Ah!